Hey everyone, and welcome back to my page, LinuxBySolo. So today I'm excited again. We're gonna be doing another lab, and last lab we saw, we did our lab setup basically, right? So if anything, the only protocol that we saw last time was a SSH protocol because that's how we're able to log into our server. So today we're gonna see a bunch of other protocols. So think of protocols like um, doors, like it gives you access. Think of protocols like ports. Protocols have ports, right? So think of it like doors that gives you access to another door, to another room, or to another place. So for example, to log into to connect to an Ubuntu server, you need a protocol, and that protocol is called SSH protocol, and that protocol uses a port, and the port number is number 22. So there are a bunch of other ports that does different things. For example, for internet access, you need HTTP. For secure internet, you need secure HTTP or HTTPS. So it's just gonna be basic things like that. So today I'm excited to show you how you can encounter a basic network problem at work where maybe you cannot install packages, you cannot reach Google, you cannot browse the internet, and normally things like this are handled by the networking department. But hey, again, this is a lab, jack of all trades, so I do a little bit of everything. So because of that, come with me and let me show you how you can fix this problem. Let's go. Okay, so like I said, into this lab, we're going to be doing a basic network troubleshooting. So first thing first, I am going to log into the platform where we're going to be working from. Again, I'm going to log into my AWS account. If you guys need me to do another video, maybe to show you how you can set up this account, there are a bunch of videos like this, maybe like 3 to 5 minutes long videos on how you can create an AWS account. It's very easy, very straight to the point. But if you need help with that, I can always make like a short video to show you guys how to set up your AWS account. It's pretty easy. Anyways, all right. So on my screen here, we're logged into AWS, and we're currently in United States, Ohio region, right? So these are different bunch of regions that we have. US East 2. So in here, you have to make sure that you're in the right region, right? Because sometimes, for example, say if I switch regions to a US California, yeah, it looks like I don't have anything because I don't have any resources running in this region. So you have to make sure that you're in the right region. I've had this happen to me so many times in the past where I log in and I'm like, I created a server, I set up a server and I could log into it, I could use it, but all of a sudden I come into my AWS account and I'm unable to find it. So you have to make sure that you know what regions your resources were placed. Okay, so in here we have our test server. So I'm gonna select that server, and then I'm gonna go to instance state. I'm gonna start my instance. All right, notice before I start the instance, look, IPv4 address is empty. So once this is in a running state, it's gonna give us a public DNS or a public IPv4 address. So there we go. Now we have a public IPv4 address, and we can now copy this, and then we can go back to our SSH client, mobile XTEM. Then we can edit this session again. Because remember, last lab, I again, if you're not sure how we got here, you need to go back and watch my all my other videos because it has all the step-by-step details on how we even got here. So yeah. So in here, I'm gonna come here, edit session, and then I'm gonna edit my remote host public IP address. I'm gonna paste this. I already have my key that I modified the permissions and everything. It's on my desktop, and it's called something.pam. Let's see. Let me just hold my mouse. Actually, let me do this just to show you guys. Oh yeah, this is the key. Testserverkey.pem. Testserverkey.pem. This is it right here. I'm just gonna do OK. I'm gonna double click, and just like that, you know, It has accepted our key and we are connected to our server. And again, to verify this is our server, this is the private IP for our server. We can always double check 172.104. 172, this is it. 172.104. This is how we know we're connected to this server, test server. Right? Okay, so in here, what are some things that we can do? We can do, first of all, we can do things like maybe try to ping Google. First of all, let's see if we can reach Google. We can do ping google.com. For example, we can do something like this, right? Ping google.com. So when we do a ping command, it's just like knock, knock, knock. Are you there? If you're there, you're gonna give me a response. Like I'm gonna be seeing like some responses, but right now we cannot reach Google, and that's why we have the screen is just stuck at this point. So if I kill it, now what has been happening in the background is that we have 19 packets that were transmitted, 0 received. So we have a 100% packet loss, and then this is the timestamp, not the timestamp, but this is the amount of time that it took for this whole packet to be transmitted, and although everything was lost. So at this point, we know we cannot reach the internet. So now let's try to run like an update on our computer. Can we do that? And again, when we run updates on our computer, we're pulling packages from the internet. So if we cannot ping Google, can we even install anything? So we're gonna try that. So we're gonna run a command like sudo apt. And these commands that I'm running, some of these things that I'm doing, I'm just gonna be doing it like at a fast pace because I'm not like teaching Linux like in the classroom or anything. But if you're interested in like learning Linux, you can sign up for my class. I'm gonna drop a link with like a tentative start date and everything. So but yeah, we can discuss details of that later. But anyways, so in here, I'm just gonna be running some commands just to show you the problem and show you how we can fix it, right? So in here, again, I'm gonna try to do install a package. For example, I can do sudo apt get what can I do? First of all, let me do like an update. Sudo apt update. Let me see if we can update our packages or package repositories and possibly see if there's any upgrades that needs to be done on the server. So right now, as we can see, it is struggling to connect to the internet. 0% connected to this. So connecting to security, this is where it gets it upgrades, like updates the repository packages. And this is where all the packages live. So like it updates it, and then like it pulls the most up-to-date packages and installing your system when you do an upgrade. So but right now we have a 0% connectivity. It cannot reach it. It's just gonna keep doing this until it's gonna error. So I'm just gonna kill the process. And then now we know that we do not have access to the internet. Now what can we do? So at this point, this is when we take our engineering or our networking skills back to AWS, right? And then now we go to our server. And first thing, we go into our security tab. And you realize that security groups is going to be your best friend. So if you go into security groups, remember we saw some things last time where we talked about like inbound rules and outbound rules. I did talk a little bit about inbound rules. So inbound rules typically are rules that are designed to to enable communication into your server, right? And then outbound rules are going to be rules that will allow communication from your server to the internet. So now what are we trying to do in this very moment? What we're trying to do is we are trying to reach the internet. So what are we going to be looking at? Outbound rules. We want our server to communicate to the internet. So we're going to look at outbound rules. So now let's look at what we have for our outbound rules. So if we come to outbound rules right here, we see that we do have an outbound rule here, right? So we're going to go to, we have one outbound rule, which is just SSH. So we're going to go to edit outbound rules, right? And then we're going to add a rule. We can add a rule, and we can, since we're trying to reach the internet, we can, look, there are a bunch of different rules here. Are you trying to do like a UDP protocol? Are you trying to do allow DNS? Are you trying to allow SMTP traffic? Are you trying to allow, like, look, all this bunch of traffics, Postgres traffic? Are you trying to allow traffic for any of this, like, protocols? It's up to you, like depending on what you need. You're gonna realize that some organizations, what they do is they end up sometimes allowing access to a specific URL. They don't even give you access to the entire internet, right? So for example, everything lives on Google, but if a specific URL where you get your packages from also lives resides on Google, networking, sometimes what they do is they break that down and they only give you access to the specific URL you need. Again, this just makes your environment more secure, your server more secure, right, from possible attacks and things like that. So in here, because this is just a test for test purposes and stuff, we're not going to be going to all those little tiny little details and everything. So in here, what I would do is I am just going to allow traffic. Again, you cannot do this at work. So for example, I should just be allowing maybe traffic for HTTP and HTTPS, right? Because like I'm trying to reach the internet. I mean, first we can try that. I'm gonna allow HTTP traffic, custom IPv4 anywhere. So in here just means I want my outbound traffic from my server on HTTP anywhere. That's what that means. Like, of course, you can specify. This is where like you can specify a specific IP range where you want your server to be able to access, or what do you want it to be able to access. But if not, you can just allow it anywhere. But again, at work, you will never do something like this. You're gonna get fired on day one. So yeah, this is just a lab for test purposes. We're gonna allow traffic, HTTP traffic anywhere. Then we're gonna save it. And again, this is an outbound rule. I want you to realize that inbound rules are more dangerous than outbound rules. In as much as they're both dangerous, but inbound rules define what gets into your server, right? So if you're going to allow traffic from anywhere into your server, that's very dangerous. But if you're going to allow traffic anywhere out of your server, in as much as it's dangerous, but it's not very dangerous, right? Because traffic is just leaving, nothing is coming in. So in here, I'm going to add another rule for HTTPS secure, and then we're going to test for internet connectivity again, right? Anywhere IPv4, save rule. All right, now that we have our port 443 and port 80 open, here again we can test, we can ping google.com again. Actually, I'm just going to recall the command. We can do something like ping google.com. Okay, we still cannot ping Google. We'll try that again. Still cannot ping Google. That's weird. Let me try ping www.google.com. I don't even think this makes a difference, right? Okay, perfect. So now I'm not sure if the rules just need some time to take effect or anything, but in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another rule. For example, here I'm going to allow all traffic. I'm just going to allow all traffic out of the server. Again, this is an outbound rule, not an inbound rule. So all traffic leaving this server on anywhere IPv4. And I'll save that rule again. All right. Now I'm gonna try again to ping google.com. Yep. Looks like now we can reach the internet. You see that? Now we're getting a response. Now we're getting a response. Our server can finally communicate to the internet, and now we can finally do some work. For example, like run an update. We can do sudo apt update. Now you see that it's going so fast because now it has access to the internet. Now it's saying that we have 49 packages that can be upgraded. We're gonna run an upgrade and update all possible packages. Upgrade. Let's try. Make sure that our system is up to date. This might take a minute, but not too long. Yeah, you guys don't even realize Like how many times, like did you guys know that like sometimes at work this is all you do? Like this is all you literally do. Like when we talk about like patching and stuff like that, you know, this is basically it. Like you do this and you put the system, you make sure that your server has the latest security fixes, latest or most up to date packages and things like that. When we talk about patching, sometimes people freak out. It's like, what is patching? This is patching. Patching is just updating your systems, making sure everything is up to date. That's all patching is. So now that we're done, we can again we can run basic commands like, for example, I can do something like tree. Okay, for example, tree not found. Again, because we have internet access, I'm gonna try and see if I can install it. Sudo apt, and it tells you, right. And this is the beautiful thing with Linux. Like when you run a command and it's not found, it tells you exactly what you need to do. It's like tree not found that can be installed with. You can either use snap install tree or sudo apt install tree. And this is an Ubuntu server. The package manager for Ubuntu is apt. So we're gonna use apt. All right, that package has been installed, and we can test it again. Tree. All right, nothing, but at least the command ran successfully. Okay, so what this command does basically is just like it gives you things in a more. It just lists everything in your current directory and the subdirectories as well. So it lists folders and subfolders and everything and what belongs to what. So that's what basically it does. But this is just a virgin server. There's nothing in it. That's why we don't see anything. But hey, this is it. This is how you could troubleshoot your basic internet protocols by just like allowing some ports open. Again, outbound rules to specify your traffic and stuff. So I just basically allowed all traffic going to the internet on IPv4. So that gave us internet access on our server. We saw how earlier we could not even ping google.com, but now we're able to ping Google, so which means we have internet access. We're able to update our server. We're able to apply latest security fixes. We're able to install latest patches, and then we're also able to install packages as well. So that being said, this is the end of my little network demo troubleshooting. Sorry, this is the end of my little. This is the end of my demo troubleshooting video. I hope you like it. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.